All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am istherenoonelse, and in today's video, we are in Battlegrounds on my Stamina Nightblade, and we are running Oakensoul. It is update 35. There have been a lot of complaints that I've seen on my channel and on the forums. As you guys know, if you guys watch my content, if you don't, if you're interested after this video, maybe leave a like and subscribe, and you can stay up to date on future content. But a few months ago, I did a video talking about Oakensoul, and I went in depth on how I believe that even generously, Oakensoul was about 3 times stronger than other mythics. And I know if you guys haven't watched that video, I'll provide a link in the description. Feel free to go check it out. I do take into account the fact that you miss out on backbar utility. Oakensoul provides so many different buffs and so many different buffs that it basically, even taking into account that sort of thing, it was still the best mythic by 3 to 5 times the amount, like generously. I think you could argue it was like 5 to 7, but I digress. Anyways, as you guys know, update 35 came out. It got adjusted, and there were a lot of complaints. I saw a lot of complaints on the forums about how it should be returned back to what it was. It should be given major force again. And obviously, I had my opinion before it got adjusted that adding minor buffs or removing a couple of the more problematic ones like major heroism or whatever, there were multiple different ways to go about doing it. But like one of the options that were talked about was changing them to minor buffs was going to be a very nice change that would still make it viable. And so when Zenimax came out and they made the more problematic buffs minor, I thought it was a good change. I thought it was good. I thought it was a perfect way to still make this set viable in PvP. If people want a utility mythic, as you guys know, if you guys have been on ESO for a while, especially in the PvE section, front bar or 1 bar builds have existed for years now. There's all sorts of content creators that have done 1 bar builds, and it's really cool of ZeniMax, honestly, to see what the community has adapted, and they create a mythic for it. There's a place for a utility mythic, and I think that's awesome. The difference is when the utility mythic doubles down as the best damage dealing set in mythic in PvP, it triples down as the best healing mythic in PvP, and it quadruples down as the best tank mythic in PvP. That's when you have this disparity as to what it's providing. And so, yeah, I didn't do a video on it during update 35 because I thought it was good. I thought there was no way it was really going to be bad. And I figured also it would be better if we actually had some gameplay footage. And so, obviously, this is anecdotal footage. This is just one Battlegrounds, but I'm trying to highlight the damage here. I'm trying to highlight what it's still providing. I'm running Titanboard and Order's Wrath. I think we can agree that although those are good sets, they're definitely not best in slot sets. They're fine, but I'm still hitting very hard. I'm still doing Nightblade things. I did post footage in another video a few weeks ago where I was trying to do my 1 bar build, and I forgot that I was running with the old Savage Werewolf that didn't work with range. The new Savage Werewolf doesn't work with a ranged bow build, and I still had it on. So I was wearing an entire 5-piece bonus that wasn't working for my playstyle. And so I had to go from 1 button to 1 button and an ultimate. And so I was just using Poison Injection and Toxic Barrage, and I think I went like 16-1 or 17-1. That's what that was with Oakensoul, the new Oakensoul. And so I've been playing it with different builds, different content and everything. And yeah, I'm standing by my opinion. It was a good change. I think this is still a powerful mythic. If you want to have the ability to only play 1 bar because you don't like weapon swapping, you don't like weapon swap canceling, I think it's still doing that. I think it's still providing those capabilities. It's still giving you 100% uptime, 9k surprise deck there, in no CP. It's still giving you 100% uptime on buffs that the best players in the game cannot do. Like this is mimicking an impossible situation for even the best players in the game. Like nobody runs around with 100% uptime on their major brutality or savagery or anything like that unless they're running sets that give them that. Like if you're fighting outnumbered at any point in time, that stuff's gonna fall off. And so having that capability, that 100% uptime on minor heroism, getting minor a little bit more healing because you are lacking a back bar, all these things add up and having minor force. You don't have to run trap, you don't have to run race against time, you can run some other skill and you still have that bonus. And I know people have said like, oh, you know, major force is better. Well, they came out with a set that gives major force, and so just like before, you could stack major and minor with race against time and old Oakensoul. Now you can stack new Oakensoul with a 5-piece set if you so choose to, and so you're still stacking major and minor. As far as healers go, you can still stack major and minor heroism. Not with the same amount of uptime, which I think we can all agree was broken, but I think it's still, like, I would still contend that it's probably going to be too much. Daedra Trickery, you get about 60 to 66% uptime on heroism, and so you combine Daedra Trickery with Oakensoul, you're going to have very, very high uptime on ulti-gen for like a healer or a tank that wants to use spell wall or whatever. Like, there's still going to be ways to do this. Another 9k surprise attack. I am going to hit a 19k spec bow in here, so if you guys want to see that, it's coming up soon. I don't think it's happened yet, but yeah, obviously now we have a little bit more evidence. Another 9k surprise attack. That, you know, in my opinion, I think it's still good. I think it's still a good mythic. And obviously, I know, guys, I'm on a Nightblade, and I wanted to run it on a Nightblade because a Nightblade is just a weak class right now. It's not very good. Obviously, I'm joking, guys. Like, we all know Nightblade is just cracked this patch. I understand. There's going to be some people that are going to say that too, and I totally get it. If I really have to do Oakensoul PvP on all of the classes, I will do it. But yeah, I think we can. I don't know. I feel like the overreaction was just a little much, and it happens a lot. Like, you see a set get adjusted, and you see like a 50% nerf or whatever, and you're like, oh my gosh, they nerfed this set by 50%. 50% nerf. It is now garbage. Well, the thing is if a set is really, really powerful and absolutely busted in a lot of different ways, even a 50% nerf could still make it the strongest set in the game. I'm talking about Oakensoul. Oakensoul, I still think, is a very powerful mythic. There's a 16k spec bow. It's obviously a very powerful mythic still, but then you also have, you know, something like Mara's Balm that's getting adjusted by 50% allegedly. And so you have these things that are getting adjusted by 50%, and the initial reaction is like, wow, 50% is way too much. But when you look at exactly what it's providing, it's still providing a metric fuck ton, in my opinion. And so, yeah, like, same as Mara's Balm, same with Oakensoul, still good even after these adjustments. You know, current and future adjustments. And so there's the 19k spec bow. There we go. Well, yeah, that's my opinion. And yes, if you guys want to keep seeing builds, if you want to keep seeing like different types of content, I will keep posting Oakensoul builds if you guys want them. I know there's you know, people want to run. They've gotten spoiled by running a 1-bar build, and who can blame them? like old Oakensoul is a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun making those meme videos. My point with all this is, I don't think it's dead. I'm gonna keep running it, not full time. Like, I'm not always a 1-bar Chad. I like to have double bars, but if you like that sort of utility, I think it still provides it. Now, obviously, the utility for Oakensoul is a little bit more rigid. Like, you can't switch skills on your back bar in the same way. Like, Oakensoul doesn't allow you to switch out major buffs. And so, yes, it is rigid the way it's always been, but it still functions as a utility mythic. It still functions as providing you enough buffs to where you can get by with just 1 bar. And so it shouldn't be the best damage, healing, and tank mythic on top of being a utility mythic. Like, that's if the goal is for it to be utility, then they've succeeded with it being a utility mythic, in my opinion. And so there's just a difference there. And so, yeah, the last thing I'm going to say is, you know, people make some comments like about high MMR and everything, and like, oh, you know, you won't see much Oakensoul and high MMR, and the goal with Oakensoul wasn't to raise the floor so much that 1 bar could replace 2-bar builds. That wasn't the point. The goal with Oakensoul was to allow them to be competitive. And I still think Oakensoul is competitive, but there will be fights and environments where it will just be better to have other backbar skills and other backbar utility other than what Oakensoul provides. And so that's going to be the differences, like being able to be flexible on different fights, being able to have that ability to change things. That's the value of having a backbar set. But that doesn't mean like in all scenarios it's clear cut better than, you know, this mythic. Like I said, this mythic is providing something that no good player can do, which is 100% uptime on these specific things. That's just my opinion here. Those are my thoughts. I think it's still good. I think it's still fine. I think if you enjoy the utility, I think you're still going to enjoy the utility. Yeah, Order's Wrath, Titanborn, Oakensoul, One Piece Kina. That's the setup. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.